Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Bobble Pod. This is going to be the first of a two-part series where I, Mr. Bobble, review COP28 in Dubai. It has been an absolutely amazing experience, but there's so much to share and discuss with you that I couldn't get it all in one podcast. I have to do a two-part review of it. But before I begin, as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. If you're listening for the first time, thank you to our regular listeners and subscribers. If you're on YouTube, as always, hello YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell notifications. Our episodes come out every Tuesday. So get up-to-date insights into digital marketing with that. So, COP. First of all, what is COP? COP stands for the Conference of the Parties. Now, COP26 was in Glasgow. I believe COP27 was in Egypt, but I might be wrong with that one, but I do believe that is the case. COP28, which is what finishes today, today is the 13th of December, is in Abu Dhabi. It's then going to Baku in Azerbaijan, and then it is going to Brazil for COP30. It's a yearly event. And today, which I'll announce on the podcast, which obviously won't come out for a bit, but you would have already seen on the news, is whilst I'm recording this, a notification just came out saying that a COP28 deal pledges transition away from fossil fuels for the first time, where almost 200 countries at the UN Climate Summit in Dubai, after days of negotiations, have agreed to transition away from fossil fuels completely. So that is a big step, I think, in the global environment. Economically, that'll have a lot of investments into technology. I think it's a positive move. But you're probably thinking, what was a digital marketing guy from Leeds, Yorkshire doing in Dubai at COP28? And it's a funny story because we were at Harriet Watt University, I'm part of the British Business Group here in Dubai. The British Business Group is now going to become the British Chamber of Commerce Dubai. There's a British Chamber of Commerce in Abu Dhabi, and I was asked this question on day one at the initial meeting of the Chamber and BBG group members at the university, where we met with some key delegates. We met with Sarah Howard, MBE, Chair of the Chamber of Commerce. It was really, really good. We had a good discussion, but they did a questionnaire at the end through the phone. Again, mobile app for everything. And they asked, what are we here at COP to achieve? And I put the response, none of the above, because none of it was relevant to me. And they asked the question saying, who put none of the above? And I put my hand up and said, what are you doing here at COP? And I was like, well, actually, my client is based at Expo City, where COP is taking place. So COP in Dubai is taking place at Expo City, being fully revamped in the blue zone and the green zone. And that's where all the pavilions are. That's where all the pop-up stands, exhibitions are, split between sustainability, mobility, and innovation. So I said I'm here because we're here to discuss different contract elements with our client at TGP. They recommended that my friend Alex Simmons, who works at TGP, recommended I attend COP28. But I am also a Conservation Circle member with Rainforest Trust UK. What that means is a percentage of Bobble Digital's profits per month go towards the Rainforest Trust UK, which helps protect conservation land and rainforests, protecting not just the rainforest and the trees themselves, but also the endangered species within them. We have, as of, I believe, November, protected 2,166 acres of land in 2.5 years. Our goal by the end of 2024 is to get that to 3,000 acres. To put in that context, 2,166 acres, if you're in the UK, is the same land mass as the Ullswater Reservoir in the UK. So for a small agency, we are a small agency compared to the bigger ones, that's quite impressive. I was even fortunate to catch up with the CEO, Rachel of Rainforest Trust, who was in the blue zone, and before discussing what we were doing, what we were achieving, and how we'd like to move forward with Rainforest Trust as an agency and supporting them in the future. So that was why I was in Dubai anyway, because we have our offices there. My client was based at Expo City, and that's where COP was happening. So the BBG, British Business Group Dubai, put out invites for a few delegates from the UK from Dubai to join them at COP28. I put myself forward, explained why, and I was given. I signed up. I paid to sign up to get access to the Green Zone. I paid to sign up to get access to key events, networking events, as well as specific talks, which I'll go through. So COP started started that Thursday, I think the 28th or 29th of November. I joined day 5, which was Monday. I came out to Dubai on the 1st of December, the Friday, and I started COP on day basically 5, which was day 1 for me. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you would have seen quite a lot of videos I was doing that morning. I started at Harriet Watt University, and then from there we had the opening talks and discussions about what was happening. There was a lot of delegates from Glasgow and the Scottish Chamber, Egyptian Chamber as well, a lot of wider BBG groups. There were a lot of British businesses that were working in tech innovation around sustainability that were there, that had attended and flown over specifically for the event. So it was a good networking opportunity. From there, we all got onto a coach and went straight to COP. So first time there, met some great people. We had a walk around. We had a key talk, the ADSFF, which was the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Finance Forum. So that talk was all afternoon that we were part of, and we had a couple of hours to go around COP28. You'll see it in the videos on LinkedIn. I was in my turban, shirt, tie, blazer. I had, it was hot. I mean, I felt bad because I was sharing it on LinkedIn, which is quite funny to all the people back in the UK, but it was hot and I was sweating. And it felt like being in a suit in summer, which is even more funny. So we explored a lot of the elements and I saw some very amazing things. One of the things that really stood out to me was the South Korea stand on the first day, which was where they talked about the nuclear power plants and the future generation nuclear power plants launching in 2031, how it's all miniaturized and how they've safeguarded and rebuilt the reactor core to be much smaller, unique, and 4 of them could power basically all of Dubai. And they would be very close to Dubai, but it would be built underground. And it would be, the technology innovation was unreal. And you probably I'm thinking, right, this is a digital marketing podcast. Yes, it is, but I learned so much. And that's why in part 2, I'll be going about what I've learned and how I can bring that into digital marketing. Then we were good enough to have a networking event at the Al Habtoor Polo Resort. And I've got to give a shout out to a few people. I've got to give a shout out to Katie Holmes, Simone Juncker, Corey, from people from the BBG who did an amazing event. Hosted us, the British Business Group, and the Chamber of Commerce really, really well. It was great to meet people like Sarah Howard, MBE, and get to connect with her. At that point, I wasn't a Chamber member, but I am now becoming a Chamber member after meeting her. But the ADSFF was a good event. I actually was able to see a keynote from the City of London Lord Mayor, Michael Manelli, who some people might be connected with on LinkedIn or seen on the news, giving some keynotes and talking about that. So the first day was really, really good. We learned a lot of panel talks, and followed by some networking. It was a good day. Day 2 was probably my best value day, in the sense that there was a closed roundtable with FAB. So FAB is First Abu Dhabi Bank. We were in a closed room at their pavilion. Before that, I mentioned a funny story is they actually did a game at their stand. And when I say exhibition stands, I'm not talking about what you might see me do at the marketing showcase, where we've got just like a 4-me space. I mean, they have spent millions of pounds on these exhibition stands that are 2 stories. So the Fab Pavilion inside this exhibition hall, that's a pop-up that's been built. You walk up, you got a whole floor. They had a theatre built within it that could seat 60, 70 people easy. Then they had a top floor with private rooms and board meetings and a whole big open space meeting area with catering, with coffee, and with TV stuff all around. It was like being in a mini office, and it was so amazing in how to utilize space, and everything was built sustainable. So it's all recyclable, all the exhibition stands. And they did this game outside where they did a real like New York style trading a game where you had 10 minutes, then 10 minutes. And you had these slips and you had to buy stock and then you had to sell stock. And whoever had the most profit won an iPad. I came like seventh. I think I made a £36,000 profit, but the winner did it all in one trade and made like $117,000 profit over 20 minutes, which was quite impressive. But yeah, it was just very engaging, showing people how the financial market kind of worked. But the closed roundtable was very, very, very good. In there were a lot of British businesses, individuals, and the chief financial officer for Fab. And there was a theme that it was because it was closed. Everybody got to talk. It was chaired by Nick, who's part of the BBG and Chamber of Commerce, and we went round everyone in the room talking about why they're there. So what their affiliation was. So obviously my affiliation was with the British Business Group. What they're doing in terms of energy transition. So in terms of energy transition, I talked about how we're trying to identify our carbon footprint for all the impressions and clicks that we're driving as a digital marketing agency, as well as our support for the Rainforest Trust. However, that I had an offer as well as an ask. So towards the end, they had an ask from Fab in terms of what they could do. And I had a note taker in there to took everyone's details, and it was really, really good and very, very open discussion for that lasted 2.5 hours. And my offer was like, actually, I can help companies in this room get their message across to their key audiences. I can help people like FabBank get any kind of investment opportunities or grants or funding within this industries out to the right customers, not just people in the room. But my ask was to make finance easier for greener initiatives, because in the UK there's a lot of red tape and a lot of the money goes to the big businesses. And that, I'm being transparent there. Anytime a government fund comes out for innovation or digital tech, I very rarely get an opportunity to touch it. The amount of time and legwork that goes into preparing for it, the cost of just doing that, and sometimes you have to get a professional writer to come in and do that and prepare it properly, is the difference between you getting awarded and not awarded. And in the UK, it's just too much red tape. They make it very, very, very difficult to get it. And the companies that have the money and the resource to apply for the funding get it, whereas the smaller companies don't. So my ask was to make it easier and to distribute the funds equally, because what happens is, with any kind of like funding, it goes to all the big competitors who end up creating their own products. They want to push that product as the market leader, but they've got the money that should have gone to smaller companies that could create other potential products that could go out, and then we're kind of strapped, and they've got whoever gets products does the best kind of gets a monopoly on that, and then the rest of the smaller companies are stuck with those kind of prices. So that top-down approach for funding and grants doesn't work. It needs to relook at in terms of how it's thing, and it's not well promoted, and companies don't know, and there's too much to do to get it. So it should be simple and easy to apply for any kind of business. I understand that you've got to protect where the money goes to and it's not wasted, but especially stuff that's funded where you've got to invest the money and get it back, it should be a lot more easy to access for companies. So that was great, day 2, and learnt a lot. Day 3, the whole British Chamber of Commerce and I was taken down to Abu Dhabi. So where we first went to Masdar City. So we were part of the Siemens building. And that whole Masdar City is still under development. And oh my God, how impressive it was. If you're watching on YouTube, by now you would have seen a few clips of some of the things that I attended, such as the ADSFF, my walk around COP. But I will make sure there's clips of Masdar City and pictures put up to show you. So Masdar City, why is it so important? It's the first in the UAE. It's their first, green, carbon neutral, fully sustainable city, which is unheard of. Everything's been designed with green in elements. Everything in terms of the steel and all the mixtures and all the materials used is built from sustainable recycled product. We spent the day there at Masdar getting an overview of what was happening. It was impressive. They then took around these autonomous battery-focused cars. There's a video of it. It should play right now. where I'm in there with Steve, Daniel, some friends I made while I was out there, and it was just surreal being in an autonomous car. I've never actually been in one before, and it was very, very impressive in terms of how accurate it was. But then they took us over to the Department of Economic Development, where they give talks about Abu Dhabi, the future of it, what does the green look like, how can businesses like us invest in Abu Dhabi or move over to Abu Dhabi, how we can get support, how we can get resources, how we can stay sustainable. It was very, very comprehensive. Day 3 was a very, very full-on day because we had been taken down to Abu Dhabi, Masdar City, afternoon events and talks at the Economic Development Department. Then we went back up for a front-runners dinner in the Hilton on the Palm. Sounds posh, I know. Which was held by the Chamber of Commerce. And again, we had tasks as part of the dinner that was out there. Local businesses came. It was very, very good, and we networked. After the first 3 days, we had such a great time, and we built our network so well that most of the British delegation that are out were actually returning on the Thursday and the Friday that week. So we had created a WhatsApp group called COP28 Network because we all built good relationships. We've been in a coach, we've been traveling together, we've been attending events together, and naturally you just build relationships from that. And considering that I was there for marketing, I actually met another gentleman there, Tom Dunning, who was there with his in the media industry, but with his AI tech and how it could help. And I felt very, very like actually I was meant to be here. Not even though I come from a digital marketing background, that actually there's a lot of businesses from Manchester and the north that are there trying to look at new markets to take their sustainable products. And from a digital marketing perspective, what I realized very quickly was that actually there's a lot more we can be doing. There's a lot more sustainable companies we could be working with. And the fact that we already had the foundation in place around, a percentage of our profits going to the Rainforest Trust and being sustainable that way and being paper-free as a company, it gave me ideas, which I'll share in part 2 of what I'm going to release and launch as a result of what I found and the conversations I had. So all in all, the first 3 days were very, very, very jam-packed. You would have hopefully seen some clips if you're watching on YouTube in terms of what I saw. But I was extremely impressed with everything that I saw with COP28, the exhibitions, how well it was organised, how well the British Business Group and Chamber of Commerce Abu Dhabi organised our events. The events we attended were very useful, very insightful, very educational. The whole day in Abu Dhabi was amazing. We met some amazing people, amazing businesses, people that are based in the UK looking to move over to the UAE. And my advice would be that don't just use an example as COP to get out to Dubai or the UAE or the Middle East. Have a look at what else is there. So I want to use this episode to kind of talk about what I actually did at COP. Thursday I was there for the day, just catching up and doing some walking around some exhibitions. No, sorry, Thursday. I scrapped that. Thursday was actually a rest day, so I didn't go. Thursday I got up on UK work. Friday is actually when I went back to COP and spent the day and walked around some pavilions, and I was able to go through the Saudi Arabia pavilion, Chinese pavilion, and everything else, and look at all the different hubs that's set up. And I'm going to talk about that in part 2 because we're running out of time, and I want to go into detail in terms of what I learned and what I saw. And I've got some more videos and clips if you're watching YouTube in terms of what I actually saw to go along with that. So that's Mr. Bobble's COP28 review part 1. I was extremely impressed. The news that came out and what they've achieved so far is really, really good. Extremely busy. Great to be part of it. Great to be part of the British delegation. Big thank you to obviously everyone I met, to COP28, to TGP for having me in their offices as well during that time. Thank you to Sarah Howard and Simone and Katie from the BBG Group and British Chamber for organising it for us companies. It was very, very, very useful. And if you are looking to focus on more sustainability or got different initiatives as a company, I'd highly recommend looking at COP29 in Baku or COP30 in Brazil, and just go as part of the British delegation. You never know what's going to happen, who you're going to meet, and what it'll turn out to. So that's part 1. Part 2, I'll talk about what I actually saw within COP28 in all the different innovation hubs, the Climate Innovation Hub, Sustainability Hub, Digital Innovation Hub, which I think you'll find really, really, really interesting. And that's where I was really, really blown away. Thank you again. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. If you're streaming on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and I will continue with part 2 on the next episode next week.